Hey, what's up everyone? This is AmzroSevca doing a little bit of like a podcast talk about why I ended up quitting Super Smash Brothers competitively. So some of you may know or some of you may not know that I used to play Super Smash Bros. Competitively since about 6 years ago. Started off playing Melee and then slowly got into playing Smash 4 when it released, and then eventually Smash Ultimate for a short period of time before I dropped playing Smash Bros. Competitively altogether. I joined into Smash 4's competitive scene, I think, about halfway through its lifespan, I think, or a little bit under halfway through its lifespan, since I did not have access to the game as soon as it came out. I do remember playing the demo version quite a bit on the 3DS, but I believe it was limited in the number of times you could play it, like most 3DS games. So I didn't really have access to it until I think about a year or two after released, and I was able to get my hands on the full game. At least on the 3DS version. The Wii U version, I had limited access to because I didn't own a Wii U personally. Some people that I knew did, and I was sometimes playing there, but I was mostly custom to 3DS. That's what I owned the game on. Anyway, so to start off with why I had quit competitive Smash, is that for starters there was like a lack of in-person tournaments when I was growing up in my area, or at least like in my part of the state. We didn't have a lot in terms of like tournament scene stuff going on. If there were, they were really rare to ever see tournament events take place. I think we had maybe one or two in the entire time, at least that I know of, in the entire time that I lived in my old area. So there was just not a whole lot of in-person event action going on, and whatever competitive play I did get was online, and we all know how online can be with connections and all that. So that was contributing towards me not really staying engaged with Smash Bros. Long term, was because of that issue of not having that in-person connections and having to rely on online play. I know that like Brawl was known for its terrible online, but I wasn't old enough, I think, to play games online back then. But by the time that I was, Brawl had already kind of was like on its way fading out, and I believe the Nintendo 24/7 Wi-Fi connection or whatever for the Wii, I believe it shut down 5 years later. But anyways, yeah. But by that point though, Smash 4 was already, I think, released, and Brawl's online. It was just absolutely abysmal. Actually, I think there's even videos on YouTube showing how bad the online connections would be. And then there's Smash 4, which also had trash connections. Granted, they were not as frequent as Brawl, I believe, but they were still pretty terrible. You get into some matches where it would just, like, you would start the match and there would already be lag before like the game would even open to like where the players are standing. It's a countdown. Like, it would literally be like lagging on the loading screen. You already knew you were in for a bad time. And so yeah, with that lack of those in-person tournaments, that kind of already was a nail in the coffin for me eventually quitting. But then, so with Smash 4, by the time it came out, I remember there was not as much of a toxic player base as there was by the end of Smash 4's days. So I remember at the beginning of Smash 4, you had like some people from, I think, who played like Brawl competitively, but the amount of people who were playing Brawl competitively was not as big as those playing Melee competitively, and people who played Melee competitively mostly stuck to themselves. And since back when I was playing Smash competitively, there were no in-person tournaments and there was no Slippy, so playing Melee competitively with really anyone than the few people who I knew locally was just not really possible. So any toxicity that was probably going on, I had literally no idea of. But Smash 4, with its online play being like the most stable up to that point, it definitely brought a lot of new users into the playing field. And I do remember a lot of toxic playstyles finally being brought to the internet, where people could shine, spamming whatever attacks they had, or playing with just spamming roll and other just terrible playstyles. I remember it getting really bad to a point where there'd be complaints like every other week online on Smash boards. Not the site, but like different forum boards about Smash, or like forum communities about the game and its like terrible player base. But there was there was a lot of that, and I remember at some point eventually Nintendo actually introduced a banning system in the Smash 4 where you could like send people to what some people called Smash Hell, where like if you got reported a certain number of times by other players, you would end up in like this like really shitty like lobby that was separate from like the main matchmaking lobby, and you would get matched up with other people who reported. But unfortunately, it led to where you like couldn't get a match sometimes for like hours because you'd just be waiting to find another player in this sort of Smash Hell. And usually the other people you'd find, some of them weren't necessarily bad because like, of course, some people would just get reported because, you know, others would report them because other people were just douchebags, they just want to report someone. But other times people would actually legitimately get reported, and then you'd like run into like a Ness who was spamming PK Fire, or you'd run into like a Zelda who's spamming side B. So, you know, that was always fun. But yeah, no, I remember the report button actually getting abused pretty bad in the end days of Smash 4, and luckily I don't think I ever ended up in Smash Hell, but I do know a couple friends who did, because people would get salty after like losing a match and then report someone, and eventually that person, even if they weren't playing shitty, you know, like they're just a good player, they had the possibility of ending up in Smash 4 Hell, so it definitely helped the game kind of lose its active player base. So that was just yeah, that was like a nail. I would say that was one of the nails in the coffin of Smash 4, combined with its, you know, controversial DLC. And then, you know, you also started seeing stuff like Captain Zack and that one other dude at a tournament who literally just stalled with Bayonetta. I can't remember what Smash tournament it was exactly, but I do know that it garnered a lot of hate, and I mean, understandably so. It was fucking terrible to watch. So yeah, Smash 4, it started out well, but then later on just became a fucking hot mess, and I stopped playing it, I think, in 2017, because by that point, I sold my 3DS in favor of a Nintendo Switch, because Breath of the Wild, like Puyo Puyo Tetris and stuff were coming out, and I was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna move on to the next generation of consoles. I think my 3DS days are done. So those were like my final days of playing Smash 4. I think I might have played a little bit on the Wii U after I sold my 3DS, but it was like very like rare, simply because, again, I didn't own the Wii U. I usually only play it once I would meet up with people who did have it. So yeah, so Smash 4, that's kind of where it dropped off for me, and I had sort of like a dry spell in playing Smash. I played a little bit of Melee. I think I was actually starting to play more like Melee stuff at that point, simply because I didn't have Smash 4 anymore for the 3DS. So I went back to, I think, playing Melee a little bit on and off, but it was really casual, kind of to the side. I wasn't really grinding or anything. Then, I believe it was in the spring of 2018 that Smash Ultimate was announced. And there was like hype for that game for months on end up until its release. So I was following that like daily, like religiously. I was following it until it released. But I mean, again, in the meantime, I wasn't really playing Smash Brothers. Or I might, actually, let me think about this. I think I might have been playing Smash Bros, but I think at that point I might have switched to Project M, or I was just starting to switch to Project M. And so that was all the Smash Bros that I ever played. I think I had dropped Melee actually for the most part by that point. And then Smash Ultimate came out, and I had so many high expectations for that game, especially from E3 of 2018, because like the stuff they were showing, like all the characters from the Smash franchise together and everything, like my expectations were through the fucking roof. And then it released, and Smash Ultimate didn't meet like half those expectations, and it was really disappointing. It was fun to play for about the first week or so until it didn't click. It just didn't feel as good as Project M or Melee, and even Smash 4 I prefer to play actually to Ultimate even to this day. There was something about the movement system in Ultimate that just I really didn't like. I don't know if it was an input lag or if it was a floatiness. Or if it was the way they handled knockback, but I do remember the game just feeling like kind of molasses-like, and I stopped playing it. And I went through a little bit of a love-hate relationship with the game, and I bought it between 4 and 5 times, I think, since the launch. Because every single time that I think, oh, you know what, this game is trash, I'm just going to sell it off, and then I'd be like, you know, maybe we should give this game another chance. And I tried and tried over again until I just realized that the game just wasn't for me, and that whatever they had done, it wasn't good in my opinion, and so I just stopped completely. Actually, funnily enough, I think my 5th copy that I bought, I think I actually still own Smash Ultimate, but I just don't have a Switch to play it on. And I think that's the copy that I actually ripped to my PC when I was testing out using it for the first time. So, yeah, I think I'm actually still stuck with the game that I don't like. But it was, you know, something about it just didn't feel as fluid, and there was a lot of people who disagreed because, like, Smash Ultimate was really popular. So there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be the majority thinking that, you know, it's a great game, but just for me, it wasn't working out. But, so yeah, Smash Ultimate not living up to my expectations was another nail in the coffin for me to not really play Smash, you know, competitively anymore. And I think after I had sold off my Switch in the later years, I think I stopped playing Smash Bros. For like a solid 7 to 8 months. And so, yeah, that was another impact on it. And then I would say my final reason for why I quit playing competitively was because I felt like I was actually starting to lose sight of the games that I liked more and more in favor of, like, trying to get good at them. And I think, like, the competitiveness, like, started to swallow me up pretty much. And I began to see the Smash games as more of this kind of like homework assignment and not something that was like I play to enjoy. And that started to really fuck with me for a while. Actually, even the people who I used to play Smash with, they would know it, because every time we would play Super Smash Bros., I would be like super into the technical details, like always trying to figure out like new combos and like new tactics to try to win. And I became more obsessed with like trying to win matches rather than just enjoy the game for what it is. And so that caused like a lot of problems. And of course, like with that kind of mindset, you get a lot of negative emotions and, you know, salt and all that stuff. And you feel like, you know, you keep trying to push yourself to do more and more, and eventually you start to hate the game that you once played for enjoyment. It just became that way kind of with the whole franchise. And it's also one of the reasons of why I started to have a major dislike of Brawl, which nowadays is one of my favorite Smash games again. But back then, I heavily despised it simply because it was not competitively viable, really. And so I was like, wow, this game fucking sucks, which is not true. Brawl is actually a really good game if you're not coming at it from a competitive standpoint. Like, Brawl has tons to offer. It was the first to do a lot of things, and I think, honestly, for what it was, it followed up on Melee pretty well, if we're, again, not coming at it from a competitive perspective. If you're coming at it from a competitive perspective, then, like, Brawl is just not a game that's worth it. Ultimate, on the other hand, I think why Ultimate disappointed me even more so than all the other Smash games was because it failed me in both the casual way and the competitive way, and I have compared Smash games to Brawl since I think 4. And 4 failed in the content area that the shoes that Brawl had filled. Smash 4 failed to fill them casually, even if the mechanics were technically better in 4 than Brawl. And then Smash Ultimate proceeded to fail in the contest department again as well. A lot of people would, try to be like, oh, well, Ultimate has more characters. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, you don't have any Subspace Emissary or, like, you don't have any co-op target text or anything like that Brawl had. Or I don't even know if there's co-op home run contest in Ultimate. I know that there is now a home run contest, but that didn't get added until later on into its development. I think about a year or two after release. But yeah, so then the competitive nature started to ruin a lot of Smash games for me, and I started to I wouldn't even play Smash 64 or Brawl at all simply because they just weren't of competitive nature enough. And most stages in Smash games I would completely avoid because they weren't quote-unquote legal, and I don't, a lot of my experiences from Smash games just started to be on a select few stages. And so, by the time that I kind of got older, I was like, damn, dude, like, there's all these other stages that I never would touch. Like, I don't have any memories of playing them. So it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I really don't feel like playing competitive anymore. I'd just rather explore the full, scope of the games as they were, be able to play with items on and do whatever I want instead of just like, oh, gotta play only 3 stocks, 8 minutes or whatever on like Battlefield. And so that was another reason why I moved away from competitive. Granted, I do still, and as you can probably see in the background gameplay, I do still enjoy friendlies, and I don't necessarily hate competitive play. It can be pretty fun to get together, you know, with a friend and like just go at it 1v1, and you know, just have a nice time. But I mean, in terms of like actually sustaining a long-lasting record of competitive play, it's not. Number one, it's not viable for me, and two, I just honestly it would start to ruin the games for me, just like I did in the past. And that's just something I'm not trying to, you know, that's not a spot I want to find myself in again. But anyways, yeah, so I would say those 4 reasons are pretty much why I have quit Smash competitively altogether, and why I have not touched a Smash game, or even actually joined even into a tournament, I think, in like 3 years, was because, again, there was this like that lack of in-person, meaning I'm forced to be online. If you don't have a good connection, that's a problem. Granted, Slippy has happened, Slippy with Melee, and it has rolled back, and that is like one of the best online solutions I've seen yet. So there could be a chance that I might return to playing I might try playing tournaments, probably not in a very religious way, but I might just try it out for fun, since rollback does exist now. And I think even, I want to say that Project Plus might be utilizing rollback now, I don't know. But I do know that they hosted, I think, a net play tournament not too long ago. But yeah, so those lack of in-person, you know, interactions and events, and then also the player base, the toxic player base from Smash 4 really never went away. They just kind of migrated to Ultimate and just like disguised themselves slightly. But not really, because they still have the same mannerisms and characteristics as they did when they played Smash 4, so it's not really a surprise. And then, of course, you know, Smash Ultimate not being what I thought it was going to be, I don't even play the latest entry in the series anymore, so that, of course, also was a problem, because a lot of tournaments these days are of Smash Ultimate and not of past titles like Melee, or even of mods like Project Plus. So, and in Smash 64 competitive scene, I don't know how alive it is these days, with everything going on. So, but anyways, yeah, so that was what I wanted to share with you guys. If you have any thoughts or comments about maybe what your relationship with the competitive scene is right now, let me know, and I will catch you guys later.